One of the ways Scientology has become so popular is the extensive work it has put into the church's public relations campaign. This was not always accomplished through demonstrating good works and by opening seemingly beneficial front groups such as Narconon, Applied Scholastics, and Criminon. Being faced with so many critics, Hubbardites have sometimes resorted to what has been deemed black PR.
Hubbard began penning a number of policy letters on how to deal with Scientology's enemies.
The fair game policy refers to utterly destroying any critics. That a Scientologist can do whatever is required to destroy a critic. And the fair game policy is one of the policy letters in that series of documents that also include how to conduct a noisy investigation, black propaganda. In the Manual of Justice, he writes, the purpose of the lawsuit is not to harass, but to destroy.
In 1967, Hubbard wrote his notorious order about church enemies. If you stay within the law, they are, he said, fair game. They may be deprived of property, injured by any means, tricked, sued, lied to, or destroyed.
It was Hubbard's belief in the existence of a global conspiracy against Scientology that would define him and his church.
L Ron said that you have to fight back against your oppressor. If you don't, he will gain strength and more strength and more strength and wipe you out.
Critics say the church may never be able to gain the mainstream acceptance it seeks as long as it remains tethered to the words and ideas of its controversial founder. L Ron Hubbard left Scientology not only his religious writings, but a series of controversial directives that appear to advocate threats, intimidation, and even attacks against those he regarded as enemies. Some of Hubbard's writings don't ever defend, always attack. The purpose of the lawsuit is to harass and discourage rather than win. A church enemy may be tricked, sued, or lied to, or destroyed.
They can send private investigators out to your home or to your place of work, talk to your neighbors. They will illicitly try and obtain copies of your phone bills or credit rating. They will try and create problems for you at your place of employment. They will try and sue you. They'll do everything they can try and do to stop you or to silence you.
How do you know?
I know because that's what I used to do.
If you divorce a woman and she gives me your version of why she left you, how valid do you think it is?
And about the alleged harassment of those who criticize, including the media.
You know the best way to fight somebody is to just expose their crimes. If somebody's attacking me, I'm not going to like pop them in the nose. If somebody's attacking me, I'm just going to expose their crimes. That's good enough.
In a 1970 newsletter in the #1 of the PR series of the Voluntary Minister's Handbook on page 454, L. Ron Hubbard states,
PR practitioners, of course, spread PR about PR, but the use of black PR far exceeds its other uses since the year 1970. Yet teachers of PR in the smoky cloister, smoke from marijuana, give us only the Sunday school version. According to them, PR is a nicey-nicey way of bringing good works to public notice, and that is their favorite definition. In actual fact, 10 times as much PR work is done in getting rid of someone or something imagined to be dangerous to the PR's employer. Bribing newspapermen and freelance writers to write horrible lies about a competitor, bribing or lying to congressmen or ministers of members of parliament to get a law passed to enable a fast buck to be made, and countering the ploys of other firms' PR men are the common duties of a working public relations employee.
In the above, we see Hubbard teaching that bribing and lying are part of the job of the PR agent. Another point of note is that the public relations pack, including the above, is part of normal Scientology's volunteer minister training. Pretty outrageous for a religion.
Hubbard's comments about marijuana are particularly interesting in relation to comments made by former Scientologist Jerry Armstrong.
By far the best, safest, cheapest, holiest protection against Scientology, which virtually anyone with lips can obtain, is to smoke pot every week. A clear message to Scientology, a net oxygen producer, and an aesthetic pleasing addition to any home is to grow a pot plant. I think wearing hemp shirts or even wearing ordinary cotton shirts or caps with hemp leaves just emblazoned on them will also help prevent Scientology from getting just about any wog. There is no credible service whatsoever that smoking pot once a week has ever harmed a wog, whereas there is overwhelming proof that wogs who smoke pot once a week religiously will not be taken by Scientology. Tobacco smoking offers no protection whatsoever and has, it can be concluded, negligible physical, psychological, or spiritual benefits. WOGs can smoke 3 packs a day of any brand of type of tobacco. Hell, they can smoke until they're blue in the face and Scientology will still take them. In fact, the criminal enterprise running the Scientology operation support and reinforce tobacco smoking and addiction, even luring in tobacco smokers with the promise that smoking, according to L Ron Hubbard, more tobacco and not less will cure their disease. But though Scientology may get countless people who are dying from smoking tobacco every day, these criminal enterprises won't keep you if you smoke pot as seldom as once a week. At present, there are no jurisdictions in which the authorities do not recognize the psychological, physical, and spiritual threat that is Scientology. And there are so-called authorities who do not recognize the psychological, physical, and spiritual need for protection against Scientology. These authorities, and not just those whose duty it is to protect WOGs against being taken in by Scientology, but legislators, bureaucrats, the whole law profession, media, educators, and health professionals need to be educated on the dangers of Scientology and on the rights of WOGs to reasonable protection. Already there is considerable evidence that an as yet small number of legislators, bureaucrats, lawyers, educators, media, celebrities, and health professionals have been taken in by Scientology. And what is common among them all is that none of them smoke pot.
Jerry Armstrong's point of view seems to be reinforced by the Scientology-funded piece of drug war propaganda, The Truth About Joints, and its sites related to Scientology which focus on cannabis, such as the Vancouver Narconon site that has a picture of Mark Emery and a Cannabis Day ad with the following comments.
The promotion and marketing of marijuana is taking the same avenues as legitimately marketable products in BC. You'll see promotion of pot in magazines, newspapers, given political support, health officers endorsing or failing to denounce it, judges failing to convict, newspapers report smoking it, and compassion clubs selling it. Marijuana has been positioned below or not as bad as alcohol and cigarettes for only one reason: to gain acceptance with an unfamiliar public market, i.e. those who aren't potheads or who haven't smoked pot. These positioning efforts are not an effort to show how safe marijuana is. If that were true, why would the promoters have chosen the 2 most deadly substances in the world? Marijuana promoters and pushers would like marijuana to take ranking against the big 2 of alcohol and tobacco. But who is cashing in on this huge marketing and promotional effort, and who is paying for it? Illegal trade of BC marijuana is between $3 and $6 billion a year. If you're selling it or its products, seeds, most likely you're harvesting it as a cash crop, lying, holding your actions, and living like a criminal and tax evader, or a ghost living off the lives of others. If you're buying it, you have seen many take stronger drugs, ruin their health, have relationships disintegrate, seen people use and get stoned instead of achieve worthwhile good.